the same place. Like, I would have walked away. Like, Cop Out, like, worked out within the system. I mean, you know, fucking critics were like, bend over, motherfucker, which was fine. I got no beef with that. Even if when critics can shred this movie, I get it. Like, these movies I'm doing, like, I'm in a wonderful place creatively, because the old movies, since they were ripped from my life, if somebody criticized them, it was like, oh my fucking God, you're criticizing me and my friends and shit. Because it wasn't creative, it was more biographical. These movies are not biographical at all, in a long shot. So if people come up to me, I can take it both ways, right in my face, like it's fucking nuts. For the first time in my career, I'm elated by it. I've had people in regards to Tusk come up to me and be like, Tusk is the best movie you've ever made. And I'm like, isn't it? And I've had people come up to me and be like, Tusk is the worst piece of shit you've ever made. And I'm like, isn't it? I just have it both ways. I understand both sides of the fucking equation. So Cop Out worked out within the studio system. They were like, here's a bunch of scripts, like go to work and shit. And I could have become that guy. It was kind of like, oh, okay, this is it. I could become a work for hire director. But I remember like my favorite, my Bible actually, is The Dark Knight Returns. And then one of the opening panels is Bruce Wayne driving this fucking race car, and he's about to wipe out, his fucking car's about to blow up. And he has this little mini monologue inside, his eternal monologue. And he says, this would be a good death. And I thought about that for my career. I was like, this would be a good death. If this is how I ride it out, I started with Clerks, but for the rest of my life, I just make other people's movies and tell other people's stories. It's not bad. They pay you handsomely for that shit. It's wonderful. So I was like, this would be a good death. But the very next panel in The Dark Knight Returns is Bruce Wayne decides to fucking turn the wheel and shit to save his life, because the panel, the internal monologue is, but not good enough, you know, and then boom, the fucking adventure begins. So I thought about that. And the moment when I was sitting, it was Sarah Schechter and Jeff Robinoff. They had 3 fucking scripts, like, what do you want to do next? We love working with you. Fucking, you worked with the monster and you fucking put him to bed. It's all been great and shit. What do you want to do next? And I wanted to do my shit. Like, I felt the clarion call of my shit. Like, it was nice to do somebody else's shit, but like, what am I doing in this world if I'm not telling my stories? You know what I'm saying? I got so precious little time in this world. I might as well tell mine, even if they're fucking stupid. Because at the end of the day, it's like, what's my alternative? Like, I sit around and go like, I wonder what it would have been like if we made that fucking movie. I wonder if I would have been like if I had the nuts to be like, you know what? Let's fucking cast the kids and go try to make a movie, man. Like the movie I would have loved seeing when I was a 12-year-old girl, ... So at that moment, I don't know, I think I would have wound up here. I mean, I did. Like, I could have stayed in that system. It was nice, and I like those people, and they're great. And for years, raised in the Miramax system, we were taught to hate those fuckers and be like, they're fucking making product, and we're making art. And then I got in there, and guess what? They want to make art too. You know, they got a few more lines to color inside of, but nobody in there is trying to make product. They're all trying to make the best thing fucking possible. So it shattered all my indie illusions and whatnot. And I was like, well, Soderbergh does it. He works for the man and shit. He does one for him, one for them. Maybe I can do that. But I just wasn't where the call was at the end of the day. And believe me, I wish there were some days I wake up and I'm like, fuck, it'd be so nice to be J.J. Abrams, to be the guy that's just like, what do you want? I can fucking give it to you because I got it in spades and I know you love it and shit. I'm just the other guy. The guys that like, what don't you like? That's what I have, you know? But that's like, you know, I used to beat myself up about it and shit, but I've been doing this 22 years and I figure like, that's kind of what being an artist is all about. You just get to a point you commit, and sometimes nobody goes on the fucking ride with you, man. But sometimes you get to go on the ride with your fucking kid. Something you never imagined would happen. And that's where art becomes fucking meta art and something even more special, where it becomes a weird family album. And just one more link in the chain of a very long tail, man. I've been thinking about it a lot lately. Fucking Boogie Down Productions, my favorite songs in the world. KRS-One is my philosophy. And there's a line in the song which I've always fucking loved, that is now more than ever relevant to my life. He said, throws off this easy, simple rhyme. Sounds easy, man, but I've been listening to it since fucking 1988. And he goes, this is just one style out of many. Like a piggy bank, this is one penny. And I used to think like whatever I was doing at the moment was the be all and end all. But it's just one thing you're doing before you do the next fucking thing. Because I can't stop. Like I tried to stop for 3 fucking years. I could not stop self-expressing. That's what I gotta do in this life. So, you know, I'm glad I got my family along for the ride. Combined work and family at the same time makes it great. My wife has been there from every step of the way. This movie doesn't exist without me fucking coming, watching her come home for 12 years from yoga and her going, me going, what'd you do? And she's like, downward dog, upward dog, and I just registered those words, and that's all I needed to make this fucking movie, man, with a few yoga buzzwords I ever heard and stuff. So it becomes a real family affair, and so even though you know in your heart of hearts, I'm like, this motherfucker's gonna get killed, it's gonna get killed critically and stuff, and then not even just critically, some people will fucking despise the movie and stuff. You just gotta lean into it, man. You know, at the end of the day, what's the alternative? To not do it? I don't know. I'd rather have the regret of like, shit, I wish I'd have done it better or something like that. Or rather, I wish people had liked it as much as I liked it, rather than the regret of like, fuck, man, we were so close. We could have done it, but I chickened out because people might have been fucking said it was stupid and shit like that. Like, I ain't afraid of failure anymore. Man, I'm a king of fucking failure. And I've been around 22 years, so I failed upwards somehow and shit. And I realized that, like, there is no fucking failure, man. Failure is when you choose not to do the fucking thing because you're scared for some such shit. Failure is just success training, man. You fail, you fucking get it right the next time because you know how to do it better and stuff. And I know it sounds like it belongs on a fucking cat poster, and it probably does, man. But it's very, very fucking true, and that's the benefit of wisdom of doing this for 22 years. I wish I could go back 22 years ago and tell the fucker on stage what is gonna happen to him and shit, and not to be afraid. He would have made such different choices and shit. But I learned before I left this world, and that's kind of the most important part. I know that's a heady conversation to have after Yoga Hosers and stuff. And I know it's a little too late for this kind of shit, but I can't thank you enough for taking the journey with me.